Today I'm reviewing Children of the Whales, which is an anime adaptation. It also is a manga, but I'm going to go ahead and just do the anime review because I just recently watched the anime. I have not read the manga, and I know that mangas usually are very different from the anime adaptations, so this is just based solely on the anime. I would love to know if anyone has been reading the manga, kept up with it, and if what are the differences between the two, because usually when I watch an anime I don't ever read the mangas unless I really like the anime, and like I said, they're totally two different stories. So anyways, going into this, so Children of the Whales was made by J.C.Staff. Their style is pretty similar to kind of the K-On series, or Kanon. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. I think it's K-On. It was produced by the J.C.Staff, and it is considered a Netflix original. It has 12 episodes, and they roughly run between 24 to 30 minutes, just given which episode it actually is. And there's 14 volumes of the manga, which is not too bad. The story follows Chakuro and his friends, and their adventures. Not so much adventures. More like it follows their lives on the Mud Whale, which is a giant ship that is sailing through an endless sand pit, is kind of what I got as the gist of the story. There are marked and unmarked. He is a marked. A marked is a person who can use the power of thymia, which I'm to understand is kind of like telekinesis in a sense. Like they kind of like little symbols come around them and they can pretty much move things. Objects mostly seems to be what they can use. It's pretty much telekinesis. So then there are the unmarked and the marked. The marked are the ones that can use the thymia, and the unmarked are just regular citizens that live within the Mud Whale. It starts off with heavy narration of him just kind of explaining his life, explaining the people on his ship, and so marked are the ones that, although they have all this power, they actually don't live very long lives. They usually tend to live around, I think he says, mid-20s, and the unmarked live way longer than that, and so that's why they're pretty much the ones in charge. So like the elders or the mayor are all unmarked people. The series starts off pretty good. I have to be honest, I stopped watching anime for a lot of reasons, and one of them was just because I found that a lot of the anime I was watching was pretty much the same thing, same story, just done differently, and I just got bored. With this anime, I actually found it very interesting, and it was nice to see something fresh and different. And in a sense, it's kind of like a survival anime, but it's different. There's a lot of drama, there's a lot of kind of secrets that are kind of thrown in, and they do it in such a well way, or I should say it was done very well, to the point where I was just kind of like really interested, wanting to see where this story is gonna go. The character development in the anime is they did some good jobs in some places and not so good in other places. Like Chakuro, I feel like I have a pretty good gist of his character. He's a very emotional character. He cries a lot, and he seems very docile. Like he doesn't really like conflict, doesn't really like to stir the pot. It just seems very, I wouldn't say carefree. He's just very interested in kind of keeping the legacy of his people alive. And that's very great, very honorable. I don't know if he makes for a very strong character, like as far as main character, because he just doesn't seem as interesting as the other people around him. And when the times do get rough, he kind of just seems more like a secondary character, and you kind of see the people around him take more action, and that for me was kind of bothering. Like I just really bothered by that. And then also there was a lot of things in the anime that I felt could have been handled very differently. For instance, there's a lot of death in this anime, especially Sammy, who is very close to Chakuro, and you see her a lot before her death. I was so surprised they killed her super quick, and it wasn't a very momentous kind of it wasn't a thing. It was just boom, she's dead, and you're just like, oh, okay, that escalated quickly. And it was really messed up because it didn't really give you a chance to kind of see how close she was to him, kind of give you a sense of closure, kind of get you in your feels. It was just like, boom, she's gone. And I was like, wow, I didn't even get a chance to really say bye, you know? And then for Neebi's death, it was super drawn out, super dramatic. You know, you had about at least 20 minutes to cry over it. And it was just weird because, you know, Uni is considered a main character, but, you know, I feel like Chakuro should have definitely had the same kind of, like, moment that Uni had dealing with Neebi's death. This didn't seem this way. This was super weird. You know, how one character was just thrown off and it wasn't a big thing. And then that's the other thing. With Sammy, I felt like we knew somewhat of her. We had more of a connection with her. So we definitely I feel like we deserved a little bit more, you know, of a long period of her dying. But we didn't get that. But with Needy, we got a super long drawn out thing. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, I didn't really feel like I knew him well enough to kind of care about the fact that he died. The only reason I really cared about him dying was because he died and he was Uni's friend and I liked Uni, you know? So I was really like, you know, sad for him, but I wasn't sad over the character. And I feel like that was a very missed opportunity because we could have known about this character a little more, but we weren't. We were just like, boom, dead, and you're supposed to care a lot. And I didn't. I cared more about Sammy. So that for me was really like weird how that was thrown. I also do want to talk a little bit about Lycos, her character. I don't know how her adaptation is in the manga, and I'm pretty sure she has a better voice in the Japanese version. I did not like her here in this anime dub. Her voice just doesn't seem to match her character. I feel like the person playing her character tried a little too hard to make her seem dark and mysterious. And didn't really want to give her personality, and I wasn't buying it. like you know, Teen Titans, Raven, perfect. Her, I feel like they were trying too hard to give you an obvious voice for her. Yeah, she's lost her emotion, so this is why she sounds like she's ready to like kill herself. But I wanted more out of her, especially because in the long run, she ends up, you know, she ends up developing emotions and feelings. Her voice doesn't change. And so it's like, you know, I didn't like her as a character. I had a hard time connecting with her because her voice was so monotone. Like, I can't stand that. Like, it was so one note. Like, and then, you know, she yelled, you know, when there was dramatic moments, and she, you know, gave her voice out. But for me, still, it wasn't to a point where I was just like, you know, I just really didn't care too much about her character. I just felt like she was one of those cliches that got lost in the story. And I just had a hard time liking her, especially since, you know, she ends up staying longer in the series. It was kind of sad for me to be like, oh, great, she's the one that's going to be staying here. I guess I have to like her. That's kind of how I felt with her. I also liked Uni's character, but once again, I feel like he's given, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like he was kind of introduced a little bit late-ish into the series. And when I say late-ish, I mean maybe second, third episode. Actually, no, I'm lying. It's probably the first episode. But the way that he's introduced, you kind of really don't see him becoming this super important character. And I don't really know if I liked it or I didn't like it. Like, I get the gist of his character. I get who he is. And then especially with, you know, Needy dying, I feel like I understand him a little bit more. But I still don't feel like I know him enough to kind of feel like I trust him. You know? Like, he's kind of the guy who I feel like would turn. Sasuke, anybody? You know? He's kind of like my Sasuke. I feel like at any point in time, he could just decide, I'm done. For right now, I am feeling his character, and I'm eager to see how he goes ahead and gets into the second season, because it seems like he's going to be a very important and very crucial character, because he's already, like, they're kind of hinting that he's supposed to be a Daemoness, which is the most powerful Thymia user, which they, show him, they witness it. So we'll see. I do like Suo's character. I really liked how he progressed into his role. He went from simple, character, kind of like a scientist trying to figure out how to make the marked live longer, to taking in the role of mayor and trying to decide what he thinks is best for his people. And I like that he includes everybody in his decision, all the main characters. I also like that he, owns up when he finds out that the marked are basically dying to sustain the ship that they're living, because the being is taking their lives as a way to sustain itself. He owns up to that, even though he didn't know, and it's not his fault, but he owns up to it, and he's willing to try and find a way to make it, better. He's still very passionate in trying to solve a problem. Very passionate in trying to solve this problem. And, it's kind of refreshing to see a character like that. Especially because he's human, and he just cares a lot. And it's nice. I like his character a lot because I feel like there's a lot of potential there for him to just be a very strong, solid, character. He's very determined in what he's trying to do. And that's just really nice to have that character there. I love that the story's not too complex. You can get the gist of the story. You know who the bad guys are. You know who the good guys are. There's strong entities. A lot of things were explained, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that weren't explained that were kind of thrown in there, and you're like, did I miss something? You start going back, and it's weird. Like, for instance, I don't know her name, but that girl that keeps flying in with wings. And she talks to several characters. She talks to Lycos, and she also talks to Chakuro. And he knows who she is as well. And she's always hanging around the ship, but I'm a little confused as to what her role is. Because Neri, who keeps calling Felina her mother, I thought that that's who she was. But this is not. This is totally a different entity who's just flying around the ship and being creepy, because every now and then she just comes around and just, do you want me to take your pain away? I can do that, and she's like, nah, I'm okay. And she's kind of like the creepy guy with the candy. You want a lollipop, She's kind of like that person, and they don't really explain where she came from. Like, I get the other two, I get the Felina and I get the Neri. Who is she? Where did she come from? They still haven't really answered those questions. So that's what I mean when I say there's a lot of really weird things that kind of come up out of nowhere. Also, for me, super random were the twins. There were these angry twins that I know they were in solitary confinement. I know of them, but the story didn't really revolve around them enough for me to actually care about who these characters were. And then all of a sudden, towards the end of the series, they're trying to start a revolution. You're just like, who are these guys again? The story totally didn't give them any screen time at all, and then randomly, boom, they're important because they're trying to start, an anger. If there had there been more of a story behind them, I would have been like, okay, I get it. Yeah, I get why they're angry. But for them to just come out of nowhere and just be like, are we going to take it? No. It's just like, so that for me, was one of those things that are just kind of like, huh? You feel like you missed something because they're just not good at explaining every single character that kind of pops up in there. And I felt like there was just like, oh, remember, we got to put this character in here. Remember, we got to put this character in here. And they're like, but wait, we didn't. It's okay. Just roll with it. Throw them in there. Throw them in there. That's kind of how I feel. The villains are okay. Do I care about him? No. Do I particularly like him? And he's cute. Other than that, there's really nothing compelling behind his story for me to really be invested in him and what he's doing. There's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of mystery around this character, but they do it in a way that it's not interesting. It's just typical anime bad guy, just waiting, just waiting. And every now and then he's just like, I'll take care of that, or not for long, it's just weird. But he lacks a real hard story. Like, I feel with, we know that, his sister, Lycos, we know her story. We know a little bit of what she's going through. And she kind of gave a little more about him, but not enough. Like, we still don't know how he got the scar. We still don't know, what his goals are. We still don't know, his ambitions. And with 12 episodes, I feel like we could have got something, just so that we can kind of get a little more attached to the evil character as well as the main characters. And it's very hard to do, you focus so much on the good guys, and you kind of forget, hey, the bad guys, do they have any ambitions here? What's their goals other than just being evil? Is there something else? With him, I'm not seeing anything right now. So, And then there is Leontari, I think. I don't know how you would say that in English, but Leontari, I think that's how you say it. Which is this crazy pink-haired guy who's like totally in love, making out with death. And once again, I can, typical cliche anime character, there's always somebody obsessed with death or wanting to see the sweet smile on your face while I cut you. Like, he's one of those, and he's an obnoxious character. There's nothing behind him either. There's nothing that compels him to be the way that he is. It's just like they needed a psycho character that's obsessed with death, and they were like, give him pink hair so that he stands out, but he's still the most cliche-est character of ever. So that's pretty much him in a nutshell. I'm not really expecting anything big from him, but we'll see where they take it. And then they did this thing where we thought we were gonna like be done with him, because usually with characters like that, it's like dead. But with him, he's still here. So I guess we'll see where that's going. And then he's partnered up with Orca, which is the other main character. So, two cliches are coming to one, and we'll see, we'll see how that develops, whether it's going to be just the clicheist of cliches, or it's actually going to be, story, something behind these guys. Like, give me a story, give me something. I like the progression of the story. I feel like the story moves very well. And it's funny because at first I was like, oh my God, 12 episodes. Is this whole series going to be 12 episodes and there's nothing else? It's actually, there's going to be, like a more, it's more, and the way that they go about showing you like the progression of the episodes, I thought went really well. A lot of times, you're waiting, but you have to wait until like the 8th or 9th episode, almost the end of the first season, to really get the gist of what's going on. But with this series, it all happened very quickly, and I felt like the pace of it was quick, but slow enough for you to get everything, slow enough for you to kind of see things going like, well, like just, it was a good pace, there was enough action, and then there was enough quietness. It was like a really good blend, which is really hard to find. Like I said, in animes, there's, you either get so much action and not enough, calmness, or like I said, everything's kind of divulged to you in that last episode, and you don't really, it's like everything's boring up until the climax of the episodes. But that's not how this was at all, and I really liked it, and I appreciated it, and it kept me interested, because with me, it's like, I'm real quick. If an anime is like too cliche-ish, if it's like 3 episodes of cliches, I'm like, done. But with this one, I didn't have that. I felt like there was legitimately a story to kind of be unraveled here, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. I'll give you a chance. So I was very happy I did, because like I said, the story does get very interesting as you keep going on, and it's just, it's fun. The voice acting, which is, something, dubbing. I do prefer watching an anime in its original form with subs. Dubbing is one of those tricky things where it can go either way. Lately, dubbing hasn't been so great, but this dub was actually not bad. Like I said, the only character I really didn't like was Likos' character. I did not like her voice at all, but other than that, everybody else did phenomenal. Yeah, so other than Likos, I really didn't feel like any other character did poorly. I really thought the voice acting was really well, especially in the very emotional moments where, there's a lot of like slaughter, characters dying, very sad moments, or like giving like knowledge. I thought that it was done really well, so it was really nice, because boy, was I was losing hope. So it's really nice, very refreshing. Music is also really nice in the series, especially towards the sad moments or just the opening of it. Very like mellow, like almost like mystical. It's very nice. It's not like anything, you know, super awe-inspiring, you know, where you're gonna want to download that soundtrack. It's not like that, but it's very fitting for the anime, and it's very tranquil in moments. It just goes very well. I also thought that the animation was very spot on. I didn't really see anything that stood out too much, you know, like kind of like the eyes kind of a little lopsided, or you know, it looks amazing in one frame and then the next frame you're like, whoa. Like it didn't look bad at all. The animation was gorgeous. The effects in it were gorgeous. Everything was handled very well. It was produced very beautifully. And once again, like I said, that's not something you see very often, or if you do see it, you know, it's kind of just on a wasted story with no, you know, heart whatsoever. So this was very nice to see. All in all, I thought it was a very nice anime. I can't say fun. It's very dark, but it's a very good anime, very interesting. I love the story, and I definitely recommend anybody, you know, to check it out, because I'm gonna be looking for the season 2. I'm very excited about it, and I would love to hear, you know, I would love to talk to anybody who has seen it, who's read the manga. Please let me know if you have. You know, what do you like about it? Are you eager for season 2? And just let me know what your thoughts are on it, because I'm very excited about this. Like I said before, I don't really watch anime too much now, just because I just keep getting let down. But it was very nice to see, you know, to take a chance and end up getting something, you know, great out of it. So I would definitely suggest you guys checking this one out. I'm going to go ahead and give Children of the Whales, out of a 1 out of a 5, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. Guys, once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that subscribe. Go ahead and also let me know what your thoughts are. Any comments about like the story itself, you know, what you think is going to end up happening, anything like that. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.